Rambling starts, abrupt stops, sinking one-liners. Randy Savage has returned to the announcing booth using the name Booker T. While Booker gets his groove back, welcome to another edition of the Shame Time Fix. We've got the wrestling community on lock. When I say 1985 to a wrestling fan, one thing comes to mind. WrestleMania. Right? Right? Not anymore. WrestleMania, you have been acknowledged. You have been highlighted. You have been talked about, discussed. You have your own season. There's a road that leads to you. We know who you are. But WrestleMania, I have to ask you to go back in time to 1985 and stop taking up so much room. Because we have somebody else who was born in 1985. He was born with legacy blood in his veins. And sooner or later, WrestleMania will have to make room in its birthplace in 1985 for dashing Cody Rhodes. There are conflicting rumors online, as online rumors tend to go. One rumor says Rey Mysterio will be in the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Another rumor says there will not be a Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. But you heard it here at Shame Time Fix first. I am going out on a limb and saying, if there is no Money in the Bank ladder match, Rey Mysterio will not be in it. Now, what will Rey Mysterio do? This is the more intriguing part of this conversation because the rumor also says that Rey Mysterio handpicked his opponent, Cody Rhodes. And if this is the case, I believe this is the program to be watched. Already it has an air about it, that it is something special, that something is taking place that could elevate both men. Now, I see Rey Mysterio with the potential right now to be to the WWE what Ricky Steamboat was to WCW in 1992. If you watched as I did, Ricky Steamboat was put with a group of mid-carders named Dustin Rhodes, Shane Douglas, Brian Pillman, and Steve Austin. He would work these men out at house shows for 30 minutes, for an hour. It didn't matter if you were on TV or house show. He made these guys work. So for everybody out there that thinks that the mid-card is only made so you can run through it to get to the world title, stop and listen for a minute. If any of these men had been elevated to the world title in 92, they would have bypassed this time in their career that made them who they were. Cody Rhodes has this opportunity with Rey Mysterio. There is something special about this young man. Not only does he have the blood of the American dream in his body, Cody Rhodes is a man who understands history. He wore the Triforce symbol on his boots because he's a fan of the series The Legend of Zelda. Each year he plays the game A Link to the Past. There is rich symbolism there. The idea that you wear a symbol that represents a link to the past, and you are the son of Dusty Rhodes, this is a man who understands that history matters. That not only are you a product of the modern generation that you are in, but if you can bring just enough of the past into your game, you will have something special that the next guy doesn't have. Cody Rhodes, take this time with Mysterio to create a program and a series of matches that people will be talking about at the end of this year. If you do that, you have the ability to make people realize that more than WrestleMania was born in 1985. This leads us into the part of the show where I throw my hands up and I turn it over to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for See It or Leave It. And our conversation with Rey Mysterio and Cody Rhodes leaves me to wonder, if this program really takes off, does that mean WWE needs to loosen its grip, its control over its wrestlers? Should they now allow certain wrestlers to choose their opponents, or to have some say-so in who they face, in what they say, and how they go about it? WWE is a very structured place. Now, if this sounds good to you, and you would like to see this, and you believe it may open up personalities and opportunities that we don't see right now, it may break some of the monotony of the same guys booking every line and every moment. It's a see it moment. But you might say, hey, this is a Southern living, WCW loving enthusiast who is trying to bring into the WWE what wrecked the WCW because the power got out of control. I'm not saying give them contractual control. That's idiotic. But there's a see it or leave it product here. There's something to talk about. Should the WWE loosen up? Is it that time? Or is the reason the WWE is the WWE is because they know how to run a business? Now, if there's anybody out there who somehow questions how Southern I might be, not only do I love professional wrestling, I love food. And have you ever been out to one of those restaurants where they offer free rolls? And that night, maybe the rolls are right, or maybe you're just feeling pig enough to do it, but you want to know how many rolls, how many free rolls they have in the back. What in the world does that have to do with a fatal four-way at WrestleMania? Well, the thing that you would not do is say, hey, I have these hot rolls on the table in front of me, and they are just right. But I think I'll leave them on the table until my food gets here, and then I'll throw my food on with the rolls. And yeah, the rolls, they'll be cold by then, and they won't have the taste, the texture that they have now. But what the hell? I just want it all on one plate. That is what you fatal four-way folks are doing, or trying to do. And can I be honest with you? It's my show, so I can't. I'm going to be honest with you. It is the emotional distress that you feel because of a Miz John Cena World Title match that's making you lose your head and want to throw CM Punk and Randy Orton on a plate with John Cena and Miz when it does not belong. Did you watch Raw? Did you see the segment where Randy Orton punted Husky Harris? My God, that is storytelling. CM Punk coming out to persuade Orton. Orton in the corner. Orton is coaxed out of the corner, but CM Punk, as he does, says too much. He says there will be consequences. Orton backs into the corner. We know what's coming. He punts Husky Harris. If you go back to WrestleMania last year, there were two men who were not booked well, but they cared not how they were booked. They cared about what they could do with it. Those men, Randy Orton and CM Punk. If you put them together and you let them do what they are doing right now, these guys will redefine the WrestleMania feud. I don't know what consequences mean. I don't know if Randy Orton's father is going to feel these consequences. To me, that would be a kind of irony for what Randy Orton did a few years ago to Vince McMahon. We now have somebody else who can play that role. CM Punk, who is vindictive. Randy Orton, who is stubborn. I don't know where the breaking point is with these guys. The last time you put together two people whose wills were so strong, you had Steve Austin and Bret Hart. And your answer would be, well, throw them in there with Sid and The Undertaker. Just put them up. No. WrestleMania deserves this Orton-Punk angle. You back off. Apologize for letting your emotions get the best of you. Those who are making the four-way argument, It's okay. It happens. We're passionate, but we need this feud. This was just the first serving what we got on Raw, and it was free. This thing is going to build. And CM Punk and Orton have the potential to do something that we will be talking about 5 or 10 years from now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Shane Time Fix. I am your wrestling experience. Thank you for joining me. Comments, email, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, until the next time I see you, don't talk about the Fatal 4-Way.